Why can't we just say no to peer pressure?
We're the happy headers. And Paul, I think it's very difficult to say no to someone when they're putting pressure on you, especially if it's like a whole group and you're a young person. You know, I think it's easier for us old ones, you know, us old ones, to say no to people. I say no to Paul all the time.
Yes, and I wouldn't want you to say yes.
He's happy for
I couldn't live with it.
No.
But peer pressure, like we have a weakness, we have a vulnerability to other people in our immediate surroundings.
Yeah.
And it gets back to something that we kind of touched on in a previous video. Why do we care what people think of us? But doesn't it go back to really, like, we all want to be accepted?
Oh yeah, I definitely, for children in school, they all need to be a part of a certain group or a part of a friend group.
Yeah.
You know, with their safety and security and that. There's a lot, you know, feeds into really their confidence and self-esteem quite a bit, you know.
Yeah, and so if you learn that in school, it's with you for life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because then when you go out into the workforce, you want to be accepted by your colleagues.
Yeah.
You can't be the odd one out in the office.
And that can change significantly when you become an adult, because I've worked with loads of young people who are currently, we say, transitioning into the workforce now. So they've just left college, so they've had the whole school thing, you know, and the college thing for maybe 18 years of their life, and now they're coming out and work is so different. You know, people are not as friendly, they're not as, you know, into the same things you're into.
The difference between the workforce and college is you got people at different ages in the workforce.
Well,
whereas in
that's
college
it.
you are surrounded by people of a similar age.
Yeah, there are different phases in life.
Whereas you join a job and there's a guy who's just about to retire next year.
Yeah.
And you're in your early 20s, he's in his mid to late 60s.
Yeah.
You know, what do you got in common?
Yeah, there could be very little there, but then it depends on the person's mindset as well.
But as well as that, when you go into the job, it's already set down what the standards and what the rules, the unwritten rules of the job are, how you are to behave. And sometimes if you come into that, I was watching a video last night about a guy who, an English guy who went to Germany, and he never had learned German in school or anything, so he had to try to learn it. So he did kind of a crash course on it. But he was saying that even for his first job interview, he stumbled his way through it.
Oh,
and he just found himself saying, you know, and his boss, in fairness, she took him on, she took a chance on him, even though he never answered any of her questions. But he said that he felt he just was excluded, not deliberately, but in the working environment, because everybody was speaking German and he hadn't a clue what was going on.
Sugar. Oh my God, imagine
that. So he felt really, really out of sorts for the first year or so in his job.
I would say so, yeah. Sure, my husband Ger actually went to Holland, and that's where he learned how to speak fluent Dutch. Yeah. And, you know, in the beginning he only knew a few words, but he wasn't long about finding out, because he was working on the buildings over there. So you can imagine the slagging that was going on in Dutch, and he didn't understand, but he got the feel of it, and he knew, you know, he was being slagged. So he learned very quickly then to speak Dutch, and he read the newspapers. He said that was great.
Oh, right, yeah.
But it's about being part of some sort of a, you know, friendship group, you know.
It is, and when you think of how we learn as children, especially how we learn language, we mimic the people around us, and you know, mothers and fathers would, you know, be looking into the babies and say mama.
Mama, dada.
Say your mama is useless.
No, that is bold.
But we learn through mimicking. I mean, you learn that, you know, playing through play as well. You learn the rules and the parameters and the boundaries and the limits of the game and what you do to do well at that game. So mimicking is inherent in us all the time, and then we are susceptible then to mimic people. If you don't mimic people, you are the exception.
And then when you get into your teenage years, then it's really like, you know, what are you playing out? You know, what role have you decided to start playing out? What type of adult do you want to become, you know? And in some families, you know, they'll teach things like, no, you have to be kind and sharing is caring and all this kind of thing. That gets absolutely slated in school. You know, like, kids often get bullied as well when they're really kind, you know, because other kids will just take advantage of that.
There's a lack of toughness about me. I know I'm going to get slated for this, but like,
you are.
I grew up in a big family.
I've raised my children to be kind.
I grew up in a family mostly of boys, one girl, and she was more boyish than many of us. But it was like eat or be eaten.
Yeah.
You had to fight for everything. There was never a kind of, can you please pass me the salt? It was, give me the salt, give me, it's my salt. So, I'm taking it, and you're not getting it back. You have to fight me for it. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but do you find too that lack of confidence? If somebody isn't a strong personality, they get totally consumed by the peer pressure.
Some of them can, and I think I've often seen groups where there's one subtle, very quiet person who is leading the group as well.
Yeah.
But it's that eeriness about them. They break you in a look, nearly, you know.
Right. Okay.
My mother-in-law has disability, so she does.
Right.
Yeah. She'd look at you and be like, "Oh, sorry." Okay. But like, I do think that the quiet ones sometimes can, you know, be quite intimidating too. I don't think we always have to be boisterous, you know.
Yeah, but I suppose when you get down to what can you do about peer pressure? Well, first of all, it's not like being aware that you are under pressure from your peers.
Yeah.
So
I think some of the worst peer pressures that we see out there at the moment currently are vaping, you know.
Okay.
Like there's a big thing with
big pressure to
now.
to vape.
Peer pressure to vape, and everybody's sharing different flavours and different vapes, and has the best one and this kind of thing.
I was saying, like, I mean, pre-vaping there was cigarettes and smoking. I mean, I talked to somebody yesterday who was saying that, you know, she smoked the first thing, it was horrible. It was right. She was going, I'm not going to do it, but she had to because everybody else was smoking.
Yeah. Well, there's a friggin' shop up the town here, lads.
Right.
We're in the middle of Ireland, in a town in the middle of Ireland.
Athlone.
And it actually has like a candy something name on it, right? Candy. So it suggests that it's for sweets and candy, okay? And my daughter went in there the other day, and she's 15, and she went in to buy sweets.
Right.
And she said the shop was full of vapes.
Right, so there's no candy.
There was a tiny corner
one of those
of the
fairy
shop.
tales, wasn't it, where the Wicked Witch gets you in?
Yeah. Like all the candy on the outside. It's like candy in the windows, and then when you go inside, she said there was a small corner of the shop dedicated to actual sweets and candy. Everything else was vapes.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I just think that's so wrong.
Wow.
Like, what's the story with that, you know?
But
mad.
Really, doesn't it come down to the people that you surround yourself with deliberately? So, as I said, like, choose your friends wisely.
Yeah.
Because people who don't value your opinion, they're not really your friends.
No,
they want to kind of put their opinions onto you.
Yeah.
So, like, true friends will acknowledge the differences that they have about things, but everybody should be acceptable.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like, it's so important, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So you need to look out for yourself and decide who you want to be yourself.
Yeah.
You're around everyone else.
We are the Happy Headers. Like us, subscribe to us, share us. Talk to you soon.